What's up guys, Ruppy here bringing you my team builder video for I'm getting all tongue-tied. This is what happens when I've been working all week. For my week 3 video, week 3 game, let's take a moment, step back. Okay, we're good. For my week 3 battle in the SAPL, as my Columbus Swoo prepare to take on the Los Angeles Reshirams, coached by Jarrett. Yes, my division has 2 LA teams in it. Go figure. And yet here's my Columbus Swoo sitting all the way on the other side of the country. What can you do? In any case, my Columbus Swoo are currently sitting at 2-0. So are the Los Angeles Reshirams. Difference is they have a bit of a higher differential than us. I don't have the sheet up right now to know exactly how much higher it is, but I know they are higher than us in differential, and I would like to fix that. I would definitely, however, like to get out of this match with my undefeated record intact, but we'll see how things play out. So let's just go ahead and get into breaking down his team over there off to the side, because it's actually a bit of a nasty team. I'm not gonna lie, he has a couple of very powerful offensive threats, but a lot of the problems I found team building against this, what he's got, has actually been more in his defensive mons, because he has some of the most solid defensive mons you can have in draft format. His S tier pick, like me, he went the Mega route, and he went with Mega Garchomp, which is kind of interesting, honestly. I know regular Garchomp tends to be the preference for most people, because it's actually got a higher base speed. Mega Garchomp can definitely work under the right circumstances, however, and it definitely can be a bit of a pain to take down if you don't know how to deal with it. Azumarill is a problem just because I'm fearing him trying to do stuff like set up a belly drum on me. I know a Choice Band set is also a likely possibility. Maybe he goes Assault Vest, considering I could try to dent his team with a lot of special attackers, because most of his mons seem to be on the more physically bulky side to some degree, at least amongst his defensive walls. But Azumarill is a problem just because with huge power, that thing is hitting my team stupidly hard, and I don't like that. My team has some nice defensive options, but I could definitely use a bit more of the defensive shoring up, I guess, against the likes of Azumarill. Volcarona is a problem because, well, I mean, it's Volcarona. It comes in, it quiver dances, it sweeps teams. What more really needs to be said? I'm not as fearful of Volcarona as I am the Azumarill, because I do have a plan for it. If my plan goes awry, however, then Volcarona could cause me a lot of headaches, so I need to be wary of that. Roserade is an interesting option. I mean, it's a spike setter, it can set up Toxic Spikes as well, it's especially defensive, pain to take down to some degree. I believe the only time I've actually seen him bring this thing to a game so far, however, he ran a Scarf Roserade, which is a rather interesting possibility, and one I definitely need to keep my eye on. I could definitely see him running Scarf something, fearing some of my faster VoltTurn members, especially Mega Beedrill, which, spoiler alert, for this second week in a row, I am not bringing Mega B. I just don't think it's got a solid matchup against this team either. More so for the things he has that resist hits, and the things that could easily outspeed it, if given the right circumstances. Gastrodon and Electros are a defensive combination, and Skarmory down there for that matter, that just give me so many headaches. They were just a pain to try to prepare for because, obviously, Electros has Levitate, which basically gives it no weaknesses, and usually most people run that thing Assault Vest, and it's a pain to take down. Gastrodon can eat hits, and basically nullifies me trying to bring a Watermon to contend with this. Or at least abusing water-type moves at my leisure. And it also works as a well, they both actually work as nice electric sponges for Skarmory, which can come in, set up rocks on me, defog hazards away if I try to get some up, which could be a problem. It's got sturdy, so it can live a hit. That is actually a really solid defensive core he's got, I'm not gonna lie. And trying to break it has been one of the things I've been really trying to look at throughout building my team for this game. Because I'm honestly of the mindset that he's going to bring at least 2 of them to try to counter the potential VoltTurn spam I could bring. Because while I could easily switch all over his team, he's got things that can easily eat the hits, be able to fire back with something, spread some status throughout my team maybe, and put me in a really bad spot. Tauros is an interesting pick. It hits hard and it's relatively fast. I'm not too sure if he's really going to bring it or not. It's kind of a mixed answer on Tauros, really. Azelf, I could see him bringing, because Azelf can do a number of different things. It's kind of like a pseudo-Mew to some degree, except without the ability to learn every move in the game. I could definitely see him bringing Liper, especially if he thinks I'm going to bring, well, not so much Mega Beedrill, but try to go Speedy for this game. Because of the fact that that thing gets Thunder Wave, it's got Prankster. Basically the same scenario I ran into with the Whimsicott last week when I played Liam and his Agrons. And Hawlucha, to some degree, I'm not as concerned about Hawlucha. I definitely have a reason to fear it though, because obviously, Unburden, and if it gets a Swords Dance up, that thing could start basically laying the smackdown on my entire team, and I am not in the mood, especially since there's a wrestling pay-per-view this weekend, go figure, thank you WWE Battleground, I am not in the mood to basically have my team checked into the SmackDown Hotel. So, he has a pretty good team. There is a very good reason why he is 2-0 and has a higher differential than me. So to be fair, with my team, I have been playing it safer than I probably have any right to, but that's how I play. So let's go ahead and get into my team and see how I plan on playing for this week, because this is a big game. Because if I can walk away from the starting 3 games of the season, which are all divisional matchups, with a 3-0 record, then I sit alone at the top of the division when we get to the point where I won't have to see any of the guys I played this week or the past 2 weeks until pretty much the end of the season. So, and that gives me a big advantage in terms of divisional ranking, basically, because if I hold a win over all of them, that could be huge for tiebreaker purposes if we get around to playoffs. So here's how I plan to deal with Jarrett, and it all begins with last week's star of the show, Archangel, my Zapdos. Going a more defensive route this week because, honestly, I feel trying to go excessively offensive is not the way to really deal with his defensive walls. Mostly because of the fact that Skarmory is the only one that Archangel really threatens. Gastrodon is not too big of a threat unless I ran HP Grass, which I'm not. And Electros is just going to be a pain to take down in general, no matter what Zapdos set I would have run. I got Leftovers as my item. I'm more so physically defensive. I can take some special hits, though, depending on what he's got in and the circumstances at hand. Discharge, Hidden Power, Ice, Drill Peck, and Defog. Defog's obviously there to get rid of hazards. HP Ice is really for the Mega Garchomp. I'm expecting him to probably have Rock Slide. I mean, I can take it. I would prefer not to. But I could definitely smack that thing with a Hidden Power Ice and do a lot of damage to it. Discharge, obviously, both Step, and it hits Skarmory and Hawlucha really hard. And Azumarill, for that matter. Drill Peck seems like an interesting play, considering the fact that I'm running a relaxed nature to give me as much attack as possible. Really, the Drill Peck is there specifically for the Roserade more than anything else. Hidden Power Ice does not do a whole lot to Roserade because that thing can, even if he does run like a Scarf set or something more offensive, that thing's got really good special defense, and I don't want to really be dealing with that. So Drill Peck gives me a way to smack that thing incredibly hard on its weaker defensive stat, even though Zapdos does have lower attack than it does special attack, just to be able to have a solid answer to it that's not basically a hit that would be weak to that it can still eat, like a Hidden Power Ice or, say, a Heat Wave. which honestly, beyond Skarmory, which gets smacked around by Discharge anyway, there's really no reason I see to run Heat Wave, to be perfectly honest, for this game. In my second slot, we have a new debut this week for the SAPL. You've already seen what my physical wall breaker, Monokuma, can do. So now let's see what my special wall breaker does. Introducing Nightclub the Exploud. The name's actually kind of a double meaning. Obviously, your mind would immediately jump to Nightclub as in the club you go to at night. Obvious name is obvious there. To just jam out, listen to music, hang out, go clubbing, bump and grind. But beyond that, the real reason I picked this name, even though I can see, definitely go with the other reason as well. Nightclub, the name, is more specifically for Exploud because of, I'm going with a Loud House reference here. More specifically, my second favorite Loud, Luna Loud, and her superhero identity whenever they do the Ace Savvy and the Full House Gang deck. Or that whole shtick. Her superhero name is the Nightclub, fitting because she's the rocker chick. And Nightclub is definitely here, ready to lay down a few power chords on Jarrett's team. I'm getting the Los Angeles teams mixed up now, go figure. Boom Burst, Ice Beam, Fire Blast, and Hidden Power Grass is the set I'm going with, because it really covers his entire team. Ice Beam for the Garchomp, to some degree the Skarmory, the Holucha as well, if I can catch it on the way in, as well as the Roserade. Roserade also gets smacked around by Fire Blast. Skarmory definitely gets smacked around by Fire Blast. Hidden Power Grass is there specifically for the Gastrodon, in case he tries to use that thing as some sort of special wall, hoping to try and eat Boom Bursts. It really can't, but having Nightclub just one-shot the thing as opposed to having to deal with hitting it multiple times would definitely help. And obviously, Boom Burst is Boom Burst. Exploud just screams at the highest decibel level it can reach on the microphone, and nothing really likes taking that. That's kind of the appeal of Exploud and why it's a wall breaker. There's not a whole lot that can really take Boom Burst, and most of the things that can, they're usually decimated by something else. I'm running Soundproof for the ability, mostly because, honestly, he doesn't have any Ghost types on his team, so I don't feel a need to run Scrappy. And in case he tries to run, say, Bug Buzz on his Volcarona, that gives me a way to bring Nightclub in on the Volcarona, be immune to Bug Buzz, even though he'd probably be more likely to go for the Fire move, just in case, and just blow that thing up with a Boom Burst, depending on how many Quiver Dances it's got up. I am not running Choice Specs, however. Instead, I am running Assault Vest for this game, and I'm going to tell you why. I am very fearful of some of his special attackers. The Roserade could cause me some problems. The Azelf could definitely cause me some problems if I'm not prepared for it. Gastrodon and Electros could cause me a few headaches, even if they're not very special attack invested. Volcarona is definitely my biggest concern, though. But, so with an Assault Vest and 56 Special Defense EVs, as well as 52 HP EVs, Exploud is actually capable of tanking quite a few hits you would not expect it to on the special side. Which gives me the opening to be able to bring in Exploud on something I really need gone, take a hit, potentially Boom Burst, depending on what it is. I could easily go with another move as well, but Boom Burst is the main play, and basically blow something into oblivion. I really feel like Assault Vest is the item I should be running this week. That is a really strong gut feeling I have, that Nightclub is really going to be able to put in a lot of work in this game, being able to eat hits that no one would expect it to eat, just tearing through things with Boom Burst and its coverage options, and basically opening up holes in Jarrett's team for me to try to really get a grip on this game, because he has a lot. His team does have a lot of weaknesses from a defensive perspective in terms of Exploud, if you want me to be perfectly honest. That's why I decided to run it over Monokuma as my wall breaker for this game. Sorry, Pangoro, but you've been kind of hogging the spotlight a bit too much lately. It's time to share. Now we move on to a Mon that actually didn't get to see any use at all last week, and I'm hoping it gets some usage this week. Bomb Track the Druddigon is back on the stage, ready to lay down some lyrical beatdowns. Going with a more, I'm not going with an Assault Vest set this week, but I am going back to the defensive playground, running Leftovers instead. This thing is going to be my Stealth Rocker this week. I haven't really been able to use rocks too effectively so far this season, and I would like to try to change that. Rock Slide, Dragon Claw, and Gunk Shot round out the rest of my moveset as I go full HP, full defense, and 4 special defense EVs. I'm going to tell you guys straight up right now. Exploud to some degree with the Assault Vest is one option, but Druddigon is my main answer to the Volcarona. Because no matter what moves he runs on that thing, unless he actually specifically runs Hidden Power Ice, expecting it to go one-on-one with Druddigon, Druddigon can eat pretty much any hit Volcarona throws my way, no matter how many Quiver Dances it has up, even though I'm only running 4 special defense EVs as opposed to the spread I ran last week. Because I resist pretty much anything the Volcarona can throw my way by virtue of being a Dragon type. Which allows me the opening to be able to bring Bomb Track in on Volcarona, bury it under a Rock Slide, and get rid of it before it does any real harm to my team. If he runs the Charty Berry, that would be really good prep on his part, because then I don't believe I can OHKO Volcarona with a Rock Slide without prior damage or a crit. But really, that's the main purpose of Bomb Track in this game. To be my Volcarona answer, because I'm almost positive he's bringing that thing. Dragon Claw and Gunk Shot pretty much cover the rest of his team or provide me stab options. Stealth Rock allows me a way to get hazards up to try to chip away at his team. And also maybe try to hopefully force the Skarmory to waste a turn getting rid of hazards. And maybe even his own in the process to save Archangels a bit of extra heavy lifting. And basically just tank hits and try to be a pain. So now we move on to the last 3 members of my team. Starting with Quartz, who has definitely enjoyed coming every week. I'm running a bit of an interesting set this week, but I have my reasons for it. I'm going Leftovers. I'm running Adamant Max Attack with a good amount of speed, and the rest kind of pumped into all the defenses to some degree. Earthquake, Stone Edge, Substitute, and Gravity is my set. The reason I'm running it is because Earthquake and Stone Edge are really all the moves I need to hit his entire team. Substitute allows me a way to be able to get safely behind a sub to kind of enact my plan and also eat a few hits, especially on something I can intimidate to hopefully mean it's hitting me not very hard. I would love to be able to pull that on the whole Lucha while it's trying to set up on me. But with Gravity, I force anything that's a flying type or a levitator out of the sky, which means Skarmory essentially loses its flying typing, and Electros loses its levitate, so I am free to blow both of those things up with an Earthquake that they would then be weak to. Earthquake also hits everything else pretty much very hard as well. Actually be the same story with the Azoth, because that's got levitate as well. Not so much the whole Lucha, because it's part fighting, but I don't think it would appreciate eating an Earthquake regardless. Stone Edge is another way I could easily decimate the Volcarona, assuming it doesn't have too many Quiver Dances up. And it would also really hurt Roserade as well, especially if I got the Gravity up, because Gravity actually does increase the accuracy of moves, technically, with how it kind of functions. So that's basically my main plan with Quartz. Sub Gravity to take away some of his ground immunities, and then proceed to go to town on him. If he's not expecting a Gravity set, which I really don't think he is, because it's kind of an obscure option, I could really put a lot of pressure on him, because he would not want his walls getting broken down that easily, all because of a tactic that he was not expecting, which then allows me free reign to really put the hurt on something else as he tries to preserve his walls. If I bring him down to just his walls remaining, then I could easily take advantage of that scenario to swarm them, break them down, and put myself in a position to be able to really take control of the game from there. Laundry Day. Once again, Rotom-Wash, it is here. With this Rotom, I will stop his team. Or at least that's the plan anyway. You can never go wrong with Dr. Horrible. But, yes, Laundry Day is back again. Same defensive spread I've been running the past few weeks. I probably will change it up in a future game, just so it's not getting too predictable. But it works for this game. Leftovers, obviously, for the item. Volt Switch and Hydro Pump are there. Volt Switch for an electric attack and momentum, obviously. Hydro Pump to smack around other things. I'm going Will-O-Wisp and Toxic for my, status options this game. I'm bringing them both. Just because I think Rotom-Wash is a mon that could really sponge a few hits and spread stats throughout his entire team. Will-O-Wisp for his physical attackers. Toxic for his special attackers and anything that would, well, Toxic definitely for the Volcarona. Will-O-Wisp would work for Skarmory as well. Basically, the idea is to spread his status throughout his team. Volt Switch out into a mon that can better deal with whatever he's got in, except for the Gastrodon because ground typing. I know Laundry Day really can't deal with Gastrodon with this set because ground type makes it immune to Volt Switch and Storm Drain makes it immune to Hydro Pump. But if I can Toxic that thing, then I can easily tank some hits from it and basically just let the Toxic wear that thing down until he's forced to switch if he really wants to preserve it. Because Recover would only get him so far, considering that Toxic damage builds up over time. And everything else, the plan is to basically, as I said, spread status, hit things decently hard with Volt Switch and Hydro Pump, and basically chip away at his team. Rotom's meant to be the annoying pain in the ass this game, to put it mildly. And last but not least, Mystic is coming back once again, and I'm going with the set that I have come to love as far as draft format is concerned. Scarf Gardevoir. Scarf Gardevoir actually does a pretty fair amount of work if you're not expecting it, which, to be fair, a lot of people should expect Scarf Gardevoir because it's a relatively common set for draft format, but it works, is the thing. I've got Trick on there if I want to trick the Scarf into something else, if I feel Gardevoir has done its job as a Scarfer, try and cripple one of his defensive walls. Psyshock and Moonblast are both stab options that hit everything really hard. Energy Ball is there, of course, specifically for the Gastrodon. I could have run Thunderbolt for, say, the Skarmory, but honestly, I feel Gastrodon is the more likely bring here because it does tank my team fairly well out of all of his walls. So I just have a feeling that thing, more than anything else, is probably going to surface in this game, so I just want a way to be able to make sure I can easily handle that. Not to mention, Energy Ball gives me a really solid attacking option against the Azumarill as well. I know Thunderbolt would too, but maybe in the rematch I might consider T-Bolt. But we'll see how it plays out. I could have run them both, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity to potentially trick a Scarf onto one of his defensive walls and cripple it if necessary. So that is the team I am bringing this week. I'm really positive about this team and how I think it's going to work out, especially Nightclub. I really think Nightclub's going to put in a lot of work this game and really basically apply a lot of pressure that Jarrett really would really put him on the back foot. But we'll see how things play out when we get into the game itself, as per usual. So thank you guys so very much for watching. I've been Ruppy, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.